are watching the Fan Club.
You're watching the Fan Club.
And you're watching the Fan Club. Do you know what time it is?
And you know what time it is.
It's time for the Fan Club. Let's go. Hey!
I can't do this on my own, cause you know things ain't always sweet when you out here in these streets. But my morpher when it morphed, I made a fake.
Me to bring my friends in? Alright, so with no further ado, let's do this. Please help me welcome out at this time first, as I'm seeing him off the corner of my eye. Please help me welcome Jack DeSena. Please help me welcome Zach, Tyler, Eisen. Please help me welcome the voice of Cora. Please help me welcome Janet, Barney. And last but certainly not least, you know him as the voice of Zuko. Please help me welcome Dante, Basco. God, it's like a rock concert out here. Bro. How you guys doing? Everyone's doing good?
Doing great. Let me hear the very back row. Oh, I'm at the real back row. 2 miles from here.
So,
hey, everyone.
I have to ask, is this anybody's first time here in Minnesota?
Yes.
Yeah.
Outside the airport, yes.
Outside the airport. How are these fine folks of Minneapolis in Minnesota?
The best.
Now, what about this weather? How's this weather been treating you guys? Great. Not too bad.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
We're excited to explore and enjoy your hockey and your Lucy's. I've heard they're very juicy.
This is what I've heard.
Juicy Lucy.
Yeah.
Matt's. Go to Matt's.
Yeah, go to Matt's.
Juicy Lucy was my nickname in college.
Wait, so, do you guys get a chance to explore the cities you guys get a chance to go into, or is it usually airport, hotel, convention, airport, go?
The first thing I did, I'm an old guy, you might have noticed. So I grew up with the show. The first thing I did after I unpacked was I went and saw the Mary Tyler Moore statue. Because, I don't know if she was from, but the show was set in Minneapolis. It was seriously set in Minneapolis, yeah. The Mary Tyler Moore show. You know, who can turn the world on with a smile?
Do you guys think you were going to get serenaded by Elvira today?
Again, welcome here, and we're just a couple days. Did you guys know that it actually snowed on Halloween here?
Wow. Did that put a damper on trick-or-treating at all, or was it just... You guys are used to it. Cool.
What did you guys do for trick-or-treating? Did you stay at home? Did you give out candy? Did you go out? Did you do parties? Did you work?
I have hard committed to suburban dad of a 3-year-old LA life. I have a 16-foot inflatable pumpkin. It is one of many pumpkin inflatables. I committed to a pumpkin inflatable pumpkin patch.
We will talk after this.
Yeah.
Oh, I got some pictures to show you.
Does any of that surprise anyone who plays soccer?
Yeah, great.
Well, I have 3 children, so I have inflatables. I have Dia de los Muertos inflatables in my yard because I'm a secret Mexican. I'm Mexican and Irish. I look more Irish, and so I just wait for somebody to say something offensive when I get on. Anyway, I teach them what Dia de los Muertos is really about. Yeah, but I took off. Yeah, exactly. Would you like to meet Grandma? Anyway. Waiting for you. No, but I have 3 kids and one's 16, so he really wanted to trick or treat, but he's also really tall for his age. So he's like, would this be like really annoying? Are they gonna yell at me if I go right now? And I was like, probably you'll get some, but if it's worth it for the Reese's Pieces cups, whatever. And then I have a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they changed their costume 5 times. I was like, you said you wanted to be a cat, and I made a cat. Anyway, I'm a really nice mom.
My neighborhood shuts the streets down so that kids can come and trick or treat. So it's like hundreds of kids So we have a responsibility to make a very spooky forest inside our garage. That is very fun.
I had old man's Halloween. I just sat at home and drank, so it's not that different from all the other ones. Exactly. Life is horrible enough. It's quite horrible.
Dante?
Yeah, it was a working Halloween for me too. I was just riding. I didn't do anything. The weekend before I was at Mesa at a Comic-Con, so it kind of felt like Halloween. And then Tuesday I just was in a writing session all night. And that was it. I did watch Pulp Fiction that night. That was good.
Dante, let me ask you and you guys as well. So, do you have any, while we're talking about Halloween, any memorable Halloween costumes that you guys wore?
I remember when I was a kid, my mom made me a Superman costume, like a spandex Superman thing, which I thought was cool. Then I look back and it's not cool. This is very tight. It wasn't even under. It was like a. It was tights. It was tights from my neck to my ankle.
Now, when you say when you were a kid, you mean last year?
Yeah, last year. The thing about kids, they have cool outfits now. Like, you know, everyone has little kids or nieces and nephews, and they have the cool padded, all the cool outfits, right? That you just go to the store and buy them. The ones that, for you, I don't know, for us, that were like 80s babies and whatnot, our things, you'd go to the grocery store and it was just a plastic suit that you just, all the same thing, printed, whatever. You could be Boba Fett, you could be, I don't know, Sailor Moon or whatever, but it's the same thing. It's just a printed thing and then a janky, scary mask of that character, and that was all we had. And now you see kids and they're like, look like Hollywood did their
Cinema quality.
Yeah, and we're like, we had a janky suit.
We had like that little hole in the mask.
Yeah.
Cut your tongue. You were sticking it through there like a little cockatoo.
Yeah, the little thing, exactly. And it's like you could go kill somebody in this suit.
In the 60s, when I grew up, the costumes were actually flammable. Seriously, yeah, they were flammable. Who thought of that?
I loved this Halloween and last Halloween. This Halloween I saw so many Megans and so many Wednesdays, and I was like, this is my jam. Just like a black dress that covers everything. I was like, great. Yeah, I know.
They exist.
I know. It's all up here.
I was 7 years old during the Clinton impeachment trial, and I went as Special Investigator Kenneth Starr for Halloween.
You don't remember how it happened? I was with two of my friends. They were Bill and Monica, and I was like, I will be Kenneth Starr. We're done. We're ready to go.
I mean, that's better than like OJ related. That was also one that a great Halloween memory that I have. We have this. My family has this Polaroid, which I guess I'm dating myself a little bit. I'm the youngest one here, but yeah.
Thanks for that, Zach.
I mean, I was only 7 during the impeachment. Yeah, I don't remember that at all. It's a picture of me, my sister, and my dad on the couch. My mom's taking a picture. I'm super excited. I'm dressed as a baseball player. My dad's super happy dressed as a pirate, and there's my sister in her Spider-Man costume, like this. And it's my favorite photo.
That's fantastic. And of course, like Dante, like you said, working at a convention, it's almost like Halloween out there. And that feeling of fans coming up to you, dressed as you, that has to be possibly one of the most special feelings that you could possibly have. Can you guys go into a little bit about that relationship that you have with your fans and coming to this conventions, how that has shaped you as a person?
Well, jeepers, you know, I've been playing Daphne Blake on Scooby-Doo for 23 years. I like to make it like I'm scared of them and I'm about to tackle them and take their mask off and see who they really are. So I go into Daphne, but then sometimes I'm like, there's a firebender around here and she's threatening me, you know, and then I banish myself. I'm like, shut up, you stupid redhead. Do it, you stupid dog. You know, like you're all banished, all you stupid goofy kids. Anyway, but so I like to have a whole battle with myself.
fans cry a lot when they meet me. I'm not sure why that is.
Me too. I don't know why it is.
Crazy, needs to go down. I did have an encounter with a guy, and he came up to me, he said he was a Marine, and he had been deployed in Afghanistan in search and rescue. And he said that his whole platoon, they were big fans of the show, and before they went out on patrol, they had a picture of Iro in their barracks, and they would touch this before they went out on patrol. And I thought, wow, man, he started to cry, I started to cry, everybody was crying. That was probably the most impactful fan encounter that I had.
Yeah, Jack, follow that.
Yeah, I won't specifically. But, yeah, I mean, it's been, the show came out almost 20 years ago. So to see the continuing impact that it's had for people, to see, the number of people who talk to me about a difficult time it helped them through, or a person whose relationship it has been like an essential part of, it's beautiful. It's incredible to feel so connected, and like I think we each feel like such a small part of it. It's just like, oh, I came in and I did my voice and it was fun, and to see this like wild, decades-long impact that it continues to have is really incredible, and I feel so blessed that people are willing to come up and like share that connection with me and talk about it. It's really beautiful.
I agree. It's like a way of remembering that the show, I feel like the show belongs to you. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's why we come and do these, because we get to meet you guys and just see that it's yours, you know? We feel like we're just kind of getting to watch. It's amazing.
No, that's great. I'm still new to this whole con thing, and I was really kind of nervous at first to get into this. I've been at the acting game for a long time, but it's been so great, like just the outpour of love from the fans that I get every time I do these, and it's really why I keep coming back. It's so great to meet you guys and hear how much the show's meant to you. On the way over here, someone's like, "You made my childhood," and it's just like, it's so nice. It's great. Love it.
I am Zuko. I just everything you're saying, but it's true. When our show becomes your show, that's when we know we did something right, and we are just a part of the community. Like we're all a part of the Avatar community, and I love being a part of this community. It's so wonderful.
Give it to me. Okay, I've got it now. But I was gonna say, Avatar fans, I don't know any jerky Avatar fans, because there is so many wonderful lessons in the show that if you really identify and love the show, you're pretty much a decent person. Like, I mean, you can't take any lessons from it and be an asshole.
No one's like, I only like Sparky Boom Man. I'm here for just mad explosions. That's the only part I watch.
I know, and like, it's not like Nickelodeon, like...
Costume is, I was like, oh,
promote it or do anything like that. It's all been, everybody who comes up to the table and goes, we started dating, and they said if I have to watch this show if we were going to continue dating, or like, just families who were like, my brother told me we have to watch this, and we watch this as a family, and it's all just people sharing it one by one with a special person, and that's why it's grown to this incredible fandom, because it's not put on, it's so genuine. It's not because something got marketed to you or anything. It's just because somebody you love connected with something beautiful and wanted to share it with you. So
thank you.
So I wanted to touch on that and what Jack said is it's been 15 years since last Airbender, almost 10 since Korra. What do you think it is about these shows, about these series that set it apart from other shows, from other series, that makes it such a beloved show for new generations?
I think they didn't dumb it down for kids, I think, number one. From the very, very first episode, you're dealing with genocide, and they were dealing with issues such as grief and loss and forgiveness. And I think those are such universal human emotions And I think that's one of the reasons, that's one of the things that sets it apart from most other animated shows. It's not often that there's an animated kids program, ostensibly, that actually affects positive change in the real world. And this show has done that, you know?
Also, some people saw it during COVID, you know, because a lot of people missed it the first time around, and then we were all stuck in our homes, and all of a sudden it was #1 on Nickelodeon, which surprised the heck out of me. I learned about it because I do those messages for people on Cameo, like I'll banish somebody or I'll ask people, you know, propose to people as Azula, and, you know, just ruin someone's birthday. No, they're wearing a very sharp outfit, an outfit that's sharp enough to puncture the hull of an Empire-class Fire Nation battleship, leaving thousands to drown at sea because it's so sharp.
She hates doing
That voice.
But yeah, so I usually get like 1 or 2 a week or whatever. And I'm like, okay, what are my cameos today? And I opened up and it was like, you have 45 cameos. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what happened? You know, and somebody's like, oh, did you know Avatar's #1 right now? And I was like in my robe for 9 years, you know, like everybody else, you know. So I was like, I haven't been outside. What's going on out there? Anyway, but yeah, so we were all hurting, and there was some Fire Nation stuff going on in the world, and we all just like, I just feel
There's
like
some good people in the Fire Nation. There's some good people in the Fire Nation. Good folks out there.
On both sides. There are many good people on both sides. But yeah, so I just feel like we all went through this trauma together too, and this was sort of our coping mechanism, and so we're even more bonded now.
Yeah, and I think
together we'll be the strongest couple in the entire world. We'll dominate the earth.
Are you good? No, I think one of the magical things about the show, and I think it's influenced a lot of, especially animation after it, is, you know, I came up in an era where, you know, I love the Transformers, but there's like Autobots and Decepticons, and the world's not Autobots and Decepticons. You come into a world that has 4, you know, Earth, Wind, Fire, Water. Within each nation, there's actually good and bad in every nation. There's no like light side of the force, dark side of the force, like that's it, all these people are bad. You're like, no, hold on a second. There's good and bad people in each element. No element is ultimately good, no element is ultimately evil. Like even in the Air Nomads, like jerks, like that guy's a jerk. You know what I'm saying?
We assume you got rid of most of them.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I wasn't alive at that time, and I also look down. I frown upon that also. And I was never trying to kill the last Avatar. I was the last Airbender. I was just trying to catch him.
Bring a net. That's all you needed.
Didn't have the net.
Anybody else want to talk about that?
I mean, yeah, just to echo, I think like the moral complexity and the depth of the storytelling, and then the fact that there's a guy who can shoot like explosions out of the top of his face. I mean, you know, you could tell the show was gonna catch up.
So, I want to go back to the audition process. Did you guys audition? So the characters that you ended up with, is that who you auditioned for, or did you audition for other characters? Was it a blanket audition?
They gave me a picture of a bald-headed guy with a ponytail, and they were like, "This is Zuko," and I was like Danny Zuko? I don't know what we're doing here, and okay, I don't know. I literally said to Mike Brown, like, Danny Zuko, is this, because this guy looks strange, and what's on his face? It's a scar, and he's kicking and stuff. I really thought, really actually at the time, I was doing Jake Long, the American Dragon. Me and Nick were both doing it for Disney, and I was a hero on Disney, voicing a hero. And then this came in, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I can be a villain on Nickelodeon. And May's like, I got an audition for it too. I'm like, what are you playing? Water person. I'm like, I'm fire, and I'm the bad guy. But I didn't know that I was not just gonna be I was gonna do something else. And I was gonna grow hair and everything.
Zach?
Yeah, so I was like the 3rd or 4th person that they cast as Aang, so I really only ever had the ability to play Aang. So like, that was who I was. That was what I was. I would have loved to have been cast as the Boulder. Maybe in the future. You never know.
My journey was probably a little different from the rest of you guys because the show was already firmly ensconced. And I mean, you've all heard the story before, but I'm going to tell it again. So I'm sorry. Come with me back to Christmas of 1970. That's when it all began.
Let him cook.
Oddly enough, it actually did. I went to see a movie called Scrooge, which made me love musicals and made me love particularly Albert Finney, an actor. And it's like, wow, the moment I saw this movie, it's like, I want to make other people feel as happy as this film just made me. So from that point on, all I wanted for Christmas or for my birthdays was cast albums from Broadway shows. And Stephen Sondheim had written a show in the mid-70s called Pacific Overtures. It was a very, very unique musical, especially for its time. And I got this album on my 17th birthday, and it starred an actor named Mako Aramatsu. And he was nominated for a Tony for this. And I, like you do, I listened to this album over and over and over and over again. And indeed, I can sing the entire score for you, and indeed I will. So we're going to be here a little while. Get comfortable. The floating kingdom. Anyway, what I didn't know, and this is, as Iro says, destiny is a funny thing. I was working on a Mako impression for 30 years. And so 2006, word comes out that he has passed away. And, my agent just sent me, didn't know any of this backstory, just sent me the audition. I auditioned in my office at Disney that day on a crappy little computer. Sent it off, not thinking I would get it. And the day came within I think it was within like an hour. Disney laid me off from my day gig. And an hour later, I get the call from my agent saying, you're Nickelodeon's #1 pick. They want to see you personally at Nickelodeon. So that's my way. So you never know, doing an impression. It's turned out well. And thank you, Maka-san. I appreciate it, my friend.
Yeah, didn't you give me the job because you were already working at Nickelodeon at the time? Did you? Jack was on all that, and I was like, Jack rolled up, I was like, this dude is Mr. Nickelodeon, he just gave him the job.
No. I had like a totally normal, it wasn't even like an in-person, like I had, just to send in a tape and then came in for some in-person stuff, and then they committed to May and I pretty quickly and then used the two of us to cast Aang. So we were in there, we had like...
I wasn't involved?
They didn't need you, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a couple sessions working with different potential Aangs till they found one, but yeah, regular audition process for me.
I have to say about Greg, because when Mako passed away, then we were just all so devastated, and I thought, they gotta write him out. There's not gonna be anybody who can do that. Like, it's just not gonna happen. And then Greg came in, and I was like, okay, so yeah. So he sounds just like him, and that's great. I mean, I was just like, I was sad, but I was like, we can go on. But yeah, we were all, everybody's like, have you heard the Mako guy that does, and we're like, we couldn't, have you heard the new Iroh? Yes, yeah. I felt like Mako would have given you his blessing because it was a seamless takeover. So yeah, that's how the Fire Nation does it, seamlessly taking over.
So I have to ask about your Avatar toy collection, your collectible collection, your Funko Pops. What do you guys own? What do you guys have? Do you guys have a display? Do you have nothing? Nothing.
I have all of them. Yeah. The big opera. My wife doesn't let me have them out. I think they're stored away right now. She's like, you need to put those somewhere else. I was like, okay. They're not all signed though. They're not all signed. I gotta get them all signed.
We know some people. I think most of us have the fan art. I mean, that's what I collect is fan art. It's not so much the like commercial stuff, but
I have a wonderful array of a variety-sized fan-crafted boomerangs. That is my main collection. I have 3D printed boomerangs and styrofoam boomerangs and wood-crafted boomerangs, and yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I have more jasmine tea than one human could possibly do.
Think that fans fans do give me things, and I do have the box for that. I thought you were talking about like pops and stuff. I just
Oh,
don't
I'm
have
talking about
room
like
for that.
collectibles.
And also, sometimes I pack one little tiny bag with all my clothes for the weekend, and it's got my pictures and all this stuff. And so when sometimes people give you big presents, and you're like, oh no, what am I gonna do? That is a terrible. I don't want this person to find out, but it is a good end to the story. This woman knitted me an appa that was like as big as Dante. Not very big. Not very big. But I felt terrible because I was like, there's no way I can get this on the plane. I don't even think, I can't anyway, I was freaking out inside, but I was like, thank you so much, because she was like, this took me 7 months, and I was like, oh my God, well, I have to take it, so I've got it. And then about 2 hours later, this woman came up and said, I lost my dog, and I used to watch Avatar together. You know, her dog was going through chemo, and she was like, my dog would be really tired, and we would just watch it, and my dog would really respond to Appa on the screen and everything, and I was like, I have something for you. Okay, because the dog passed away, and she's like, and now it's just not the same. I sleep alone, and it's hard. And I was like, I have something for you right here. And I brought it out from under the table, and she was like, what? She just like started bawling. And then she wrote me on Twitter like about 3 months later going, thank you, that meant the world to me, and I still sleep with my Appa every night, and it changed. I was just like, see, all that work, but don't bring us big giant things is what the moral of this is, because we're not taking them all.
We do have the woman who knitted that for Gray. She is right here.
It's like the Maury show, she was swinging. Yeah. All the blisters on her hands. One of my absolute, sorry, I really want to share this. One of the absolute favorite items that I have is when I was doing the show, I was 11, 12, 13.
Youngest cast member on the stage.
On the stage. I was bar mitzvahed at the time, and my cousin engineered open an Aang doll and was able to like decorate it with a yarmulke and a Torah, and it was great. It was just like so sweet, and I still have it to this day. And it makes me laugh every time.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Great gift.
I love that. Now, Avatar in the Last Airbender world has a lot of deep storytelling, but at the same time humor and action as well. How are you able to bring those elements, pardon the pun, bring those elements to life as you are in studio, like knowing that this is a deep, this story is deep, but the very next scene is going to be a little bit humor, and how do you balance that in the studio?
Just have to imagine, like, what if a guy with a circle on his head who can shoot explosions, like, what if he's really there?
Jack, thank God for Jack in the cast, because it wouldn't have been as fun. I don't even think it was written as funny until Jack came aboard, because then they were like, this guy's really funny, we have to go with this. And thank goodness, because sometimes it's like, it's so heavy that you're like, phew, that was like, and then all of a sudden he'll say something funny, and you're like, okay, that's what we can get through, So, thank you, Jack.
You want that tonal variation, and so it is like looking, for me especially, like when you're in a booth, it's like, I'm gonna give you the option for every line. Like I'll try to find like, if this could play as a joke, here's how that would work, and then I'll give you the other stuff, and I'll trust that like, then it's the job of the people crafting the show to make sure you get that tonal variance and you get that beautiful art. But I'm looking basically at every moment of like, what if I could get a laugh here, I'll try. And that just had a very bad takes of some very emotional scenes where I'm just like, but you might want to laugh there. I mean, you might just want to break it up with a laugh. No? Okay. Well, you got the option.
I'll show you a moon.
No? I mean, I just provide the paints, and then they paint the
I was just gonna say that I feel like the writing is so wonderful that like that is life. Life is full of tragedy and comedy, and that's sort of how we all. I mean, that's how I felt through COVID. Was like, if I'm not laughing, I'm crying, and vice versa. So I feel like we all, you just sort of walk through that with the writing, and what a beautiful show it was, and how easy it was to do that because of how great it was.
Yeah, true. The writing was so good that they made it pretty easy for, not easy, but having a script that good really helps bring out the best acting performance possible, right? So big shouts to the writers, of course. They were the ones who really crafted the story. And then we just...
The artists. When it comes to the action, and there's so much great action, so many great fight scenes as we're going back through the show, and the animation is amazing, but then when it comes to the voice actors in the action, we all become Kung Fu masters on the microphone instantly. They're like, I can do all this? What my voice? And they're asking you, because they know the scene, so you're doing the fight scene, and so, they're like, okay, you do a kick, and then you're gonna do this, you're gonna fall off the mountain, you're like rolling, we're doing all this stuff, and then you do this amazing, you're like, you're like, and they're like, you're getting hit, we're doing this, standing up. I'm like sweating by the end of the fighting scenes, but in my mind, I'm like, Bruce Lee. We're so good. Easy. I can firebend with my voice, all that stuff. Oh my God.
Along those same lines, and along Jack's same lines, did you...
Circle in his head.
While working with Michael and Brian, the creators and the creative team, did you ever get a chance to have any of your own input? Maybe were you able to change lines, be like, this just doesn't feel right saying it?
There have been so many cartoons where I'm like, let me punch this up. Like, I gotta make this funnier, or this doesn't make sense. You're always rewriting. I don't know. Do you guys do that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, but this is the only show I've ever worked on where I'm like, it's perfectly formed. Like, there's nothing, they've dotted every I and crossed every T. I'm not needed here except for, relax and just be an actor, for God's sake. I have to do everything. Anyway, no, but they're so good, so good.
Especially with Zuko, I don't think I knew what was going on. I was like in a day-to-day situation. And literally, there's I remember we come Sundays, we'd read the script, like, did you read the script this week? What's going on? I'm like, I know, this is crazy. What's happening? There's no improv for Zuko, all right? Zuko, I wouldn't know what the heck he was doing half the time.
Ty Lee thought that she was she thought she was one of the good guys. Like, she'd never read anything except for her part. So somebody was like, somebody at a con, she was already done with the show, and at a con, this was recently, somebody was like, what did it feel like to be a villain? And she was like, a villain? Adorable. I don't think of Ty Lee as a villain. She did help me do some pretty terrible things. Yeah. She just got in with a bad group. She got in with a bad group. That May was no good. That May was a real bad influence.
Bad crew.
Anybody else have anything you want to add about working with that creative team?
I mean, the scripts, as they're saying, the scripts were just beautiful, and they were so rich. There was so much in there to explore. There was just this exciting gift each week, cracking open a script and going like, okay, where are we going? And I'd say, for me, especially, I started the show as just like, okay, great, I'm gonna be like the comic relief. This will be super fun. I'll get to do a bunch of jokes, and then towards the end of season 1, getting to the UA arc and going like, oh, I have to really act. It felt like such a gift each week getting to read those scripts and getting to explore new parts of that character and really evolve it over time, which isn't something that you expect to do at the beginning of a cartoon that was ostensibly for kids. Awesome.
So building off of that, are there any scenes that you remember that when you read ahead, you read the script, that you were super excited to record?
For me, when I first watched the show, it was a trial for me because I would hear Mako doing, and then it would switch to me, and I'm like, you suck, how did you get this job? You don't sound anything like Mako. But when I got the scene, and again, this is going back to the writers writing these magnificent words, the Zuko forgiveness scene. And when you hear that, the first time I saw that line, I was never angry with you, I was sad because I thought you had lost your way. I thought, man, that's gonna be fun, that's good. And indeed, when I go back and it's hard to, do any of you guys like listening to yourselves? I hate it. I really hate it, but I am very proud of that scene. That scene is one of my favorite favorites.
especially just stuff that brought back the first series. Just loving it so much and being such a fan. So anytime like General Iroh or just anything like that. Shout out to the Fire Nation. Yeah, and obviously seeing Toph again, stuff like that was really exciting for the whole cast because we all knew, how people would react to getting to see some of those people. Wish we would have seen more.
When I read The Beach for the first time, I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to go to work tomorrow. This is gonna be so fun. I was like, she can't flirt because she's too much of a control freak. She has to control everything. This is gonna be great. Yeah, when she's like, yeah. Anyway, and the volleyball game, and oh my god, that was just, I just couldn't wait. And it was the first moment when I thought, I love my job. I'm meant to do this. There's not a lot of moments in your life where you think, this is what I was born for. And I just could not wait to go breathe life into that incredible writing. So I remember being excited to get into the studio the next day.
Yeah, I remember reading the scripts, multiple scripts for the finale, which they did a great job. So, and I've mentioned this to a few people today, so forgive me if you all heard this, but it's really hard for writers to get finales right in any show, and I think they just did a great job. We had spent 3 years working towards that. We didn't know how it was going to end, so finally getting that and seeing where it was ultimately going to end up was a really cool point. And say, okay, I finally get it. Because I was confused too, right? You were confused. Yeah. So seeing, okay, now I get it. I got this, and it was a great finale. And at least I thought.
That's the cool thing about the show. For me, it's you just going through it as an actor, and we're doing a lot of things, and in my mind, it wasn't really, we're doing this cartoon, and I was going through a lot of my life at the time too, so when I think it back on after, it's kind of a blur. I was just in it, doing it, and I thought the character was cool. I don't know what's going on, but then to find out years later how cool it actually is, which I think is the cool part of it, because if you're in a thing and you think, oh, this is so cool, then it usually does not end up being cool, right? Like how cool you are now, but when you look at something and you look back in life and you're like, oh my God, look how cool this was. And like we are in the moment in our lives, we don't know how great things are that when we're in it, because we're just living it, and then you can kind of appreciate it later on. That's how I see the show.
It's our life now, kind of. This is a big part of my life. I never thought this was such a huge...
I know, it's crazy.
I can't stop dressing like her or anything. But I mean, it's funny because we did the show and I kind of left it behind, and then Tara Strong was one of my good friends, and she was like, hey, I'm doing these conventions, have you ever... And I was like, people are not gonna... do they know who we are? We're voice actors, nobody knows who we are. And she's like, no, they care, they get... And I was like, okay, I'll go. I brought these stupid headshots of me none of my characters or anything, I'm sitting there, no one's at my table. Her table, she has a big long line, and I was like, oh, this is what this was about. You just wanted me to sit here by myself while you had a big line. I get it. Okay, we're good friends. Anyway, but one person was like, were you a Zola on Avatar? And I was like, I think so. And they were like, yeah. And they were looking at me, they're like, yeah. And then I'm like, yeah, that was a really good part. I remember, oh yeah. And then it's all coming back to me, and then I'm like, hold on. And then I got all these people, and I'm like, this is amazing. People really know who we are.
Dre's the one that made me do cons.
I got him into it.
I was engaged. She's like, you're getting married. You need to do cons.
I know. You got family support.
You got to support your family.
No, I know.
And I was like, what is a con? And it's friggin', and you guys, it's great that Lyle's the one that got me here.
I want to give a special shout out to the Gold Ranger members, Anime King Nick, Chaos Draco, the Arctic Operator, Dig Wyron, Tim Rage, Roderick Hare, Miguel Ortiz, Let's Talk Sports, Papillon Oger, Roderick Ham, Jason Morazes, Willie Maloney, Louis Cairns, Solima Ramirez, Danny Nascimento, Skird, Stephen Heffelman, Thomas Franco, Savage Sal, Tim Brown, Sean Schiffer, The Cosmic Nerd 24, Bruce Walters, and Austin White. Thank you guys so much for your support, and if you want a video shout out like this one, sign up to be a Gold Ranger member today. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this content, you know what to do. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. You can also become a member. please join the fan club support team right now. We have a Blue Ranger power-up and a Gold Ranger power-up. This is an awesome way to talk with the fans. Join a fan club official chat group. You can also be featured in our videos. At the end of the videos, I will shout you out. That's if you get the Gold Ranger power-up membership. Go check it out. Go support the fan club. We love you guys, and thanks for watching. Peace.
Hi. We're Bulk and Skull. We have been requested by the fan club to say something funny.